Hello, how are we doing today? Again, it's one of these streams where I start by apologising that I've been away so long. Day job has been just bananas of late. In particular, I've had an awful lot of. It's not exciting travel, it's really not, but I've had to be in the office quite a lot. I've had a lot of long meetings and workshop, even remote stuff that has um, either gone around lunchtime or the days have just been so busy where I've just needed to take lunch breaks to just be lunch breaks. So apologies that I've been away for so long. I really didn't intend for it to be this long. How are you? What are the shiny things? I will get to the shiny things. I will get to the shiny things, but I'm not too bad. I'm also tired. Um, Between day job, new routine with a little one for school, and yeah, this last weekend was really really busy, which I will talk about in just a second. Yeah, I'm quite tired, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. No need to apologise for not streaming. And I know, but especially considering I did such a big push of let's get to 100 followers, let's get to 100 followers, and then I sodded off for like a week and a half. It's not great, but no, I appreciate that. I really do. How is the music, by the way? I forgot to turn it down last time, and then this time I may have just turned it down too far, but that's fine. Let me know. Let me know. Right, let's go through housekeeping stuff relatively quickly. I guess there's two announcement bits on here. One's a little bit of a downer, potentially. One is exciting. So let's start with the potential downer one on this one, which is stuff related to Shought Thorts. Now, Shought Thorts is not going anywhere. Episode 9 came out last week. That was my interview with Yagman X, which was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed recording and editing that one. The slight downer on this one is we're going on a little bit of a hiatus here. Essentially, and I kind of detailed this in my Ko-Fi. One, I was a bit close to the wire with finishing that episode. Yeah, I just got further and further behind with stuff just because of general busyness, and I have no episodes in the bag right now. I have quite a few lined up to be recorded, but what I don't want to do is rush a recording, rush an edit, and just to make my own self-imposed deadline of what we would be a week on Friday, the next one coming out. And honestly, I was aiming for like 10 episodes anyway before taking a little bit of a break, just so I can focus on some other things for a little while, and the work I am doing with Shought Thorts, I can get ahead. Essentially, I recorded and edited up 3 or almost 4 episodes before I started putting them out, and then I've slowly eaten into that time. So I've got nothing in the bag right now. So what I'd like to do is I'll probably take 1-2 months off. I think gives me time to record a load of new episodes, edit up a good number of them so they are kind of ready to go. But also it means I can focus on writing because I've really not spent as much time as I wanted writing in these last few months, just because evenings have been busy with small child and all this kind of stuff, and then any free time I have had has been editing Shought Thorts stuff. So we'll take a little bit of break on Shought Thorts, but believe me, it will be back. I'm really enjoying it. The response has been great, so I definitely don't want to stop doing them, but we just need to take a little bit of a hiatus there on that one. Next one, exciting announcement thing. I'm going to spend most of this stream talking about Tabletop Scotland, and one of the things that really came out of Tabletop Scotland for me, I spent a lot of my time speaking to Rich of Hatchlings Games. Essentially, we were roommates over the course of the weekend. He was coming from Bristol, I was coming from Essex, so we decided to get like a twin room because it was a heck of a lot cheaper that way. So we had an awful lot of time to chat about this, that, and the other. And we started talking about Little But Fierce quite a lot. Rich has been very, very supportive with everything about that, and he's been saying for ages, when you finally do a crowdfunded version, he'll support me with all of this. He has done a lot of Kickstarters, a lot of backer kit stuff. He's done a lot of printed products, so he knows the pitfalls and all those things I'm worried about. He's been there, done that, and has a lot of wisdom to share. And I came out of Tabletop Scotland. I actually was kind of midway through Tabletop Scotland, so I wasn't really promoting anything at Tabletop Scotland. I didn't have a table because I don't have any physical product other than a bit of merch for my digital stuff. And I came to the decision that I want to be doing this. So by that I mean this time next year, when we get to convention season next year, so Tabletop Scotland, Dragon Me, MCM, potentially even UKGE, I want to be in the stage where I'm doing the pre-launch stuff for Little But Fierce Hero Edition, which is the name I'm going for right now for the printed hardback edition that will be crowdfunded of Little But Fierce. So it'll be everything that's in the starter edition, plus it'll be all the classes, way more creatures, way more magic items, all that good stuff, way more art. Because currently there is the one wonderful piece of artwork on the cover. Thank you very much for that, Moondust Cats. But I want something that's, you know, as close as we can get to fully illustrated. So I want to be in that situation come summer next year. Now I've got a lot to do. I do have a lot to do, but I have been fired up and inspired by Tabletop Scotland. I'm already doing it. You know, on the train back, I was doing one of the horrible tasks that I've been putting off for a very long time, which is, without getting into the gory details of this stuff, everything I make is A4 in size, so everything's formatted to be A4 because that's the standard paper size over here. But basically all that sort of size printed books for RPGs are what's called US letter, which is slightly shorter and slightly wider. So for order to fit on shelves and look nice on everyone else's products, I had to bite the bullet and go, right, let's make a copy of the starter edition. Let's change the paper size and then start doing reformatting, because obviously stuff goes over pages and stuff like that. So I've started doing all of that stuff. But I've also started doing writing. So I have been merging in classes and content from a load of expansions, like bringing in the Barbarian from Mara and the Scout and their new spells from Blunderlings, and even the stuff from Stuff of Legend, which isn't out yet. That's all gone into now the Hero Edition Master File. I've started working on the Knight class, which is going to be the version of the Paladin, which will just leave 3 after that. They'll just leave Bard, Monk, and Tinkerer, which is going to be my version of an Artificer, which I have to be very careful on because Artificers are not in Creative Commons. So it'll be something that scratches that itch, but will be significantly more distinct than the official 5e version of that. But I'm excited about this. I've been putting this off and putting this off and putting this off and saying, oh, next year, maybe in a couple of years, you know, I'll do this. And it's like, no, I just need to do this. So that's where we get. That's my target. Convention season next year, I'm going to be in pre-launch for Little Bit Fierce Hero Edition crowdfunder, with an eye for it actually to go live and start crowdfunding in spring of 2026. So I've got a lot to do, but I'm very, very excited about this. So that's that. That's that. Right, let's talk about shiny things. Yeah, I know why you're here. You want to hear about shiny stuff, so let's talk about shiny stuff. So, I spent, as I've just said, last weekend at Tabletop Scotland. If you were following social media, it was a pain in the arse to get there, because I got delayed by 2 hours due to a burning tree on the line. That sucked. And I got back relatively late on Sunday night, but I had a very enjoyable weekend. So it was a half day on Friday, it's just the afternoon, then all of the Saturday and most of the Sunday until I had to go home. I spent most of my time kind of wandering around stalls, talking to people I've met before, like Rich Hatchling's Games, Art of Artlin, Rune Fable, people like that, but also people I have not met before. Like the Fistful of Crits team, Fumble Folks, and MacGuffin and Co. You know, so many wonderful people, most of whom I have, you know, exchanged the occasional tweet with now and again, but actually not met in person. So that was lovely. I tried not to buy anything on the Friday. That was kind of my rule to myself, that I would be going around, I'd take photos of stuff I was interested in, and then I would only start buying stuff on Saturday and Sunday. And I only broke that rule once. I played a lot of games, which was great. It's nice to have the time to do that, because if you're just in a convention for one day, you really have to manage your time very, very well. For every time you go, right, I'm going to sit down and play a game for an hour, you go, well, what if I don't get to that? What if I don't do that? So I'll talk about some of those games in just a second. I went to a couple of panels that were really interesting, and I bought stuff. After, you know, weighing up the spectacular array of stuff and the money I have in my bank account, I then made some tactical choices on stuff to buy. So let's run through some of this stuff. I will endeavour. I've not been quite prepared enough to have links going into the chat as I do this, but I will endeavour to stick links where I have them in the VOD and the YouTube version of the VOD, in case you're interested in any of this stuff I'm talking about. So what did I play? Let's start with that. So actually the first game I played is a game I have, but they had a giant version of Takenoko right near the front of the hall. Now if you've not played Takenoko, oh good god, are you missing out. It is one of the cutest tabletop board games that's out there. The whole game is about you are a somewhat frustrated Japanese gardener who has been tasked with growing a garden and growing bamboo for the Emperor of Japan. And there is a very troublesome panda that keeps going around and eating all the bamboo. And you have to complete land cards, patterns of land, you have to grow bamboo, and you have to eat bamboo to complete cards. And it's wonderful. It's an absolutely wonderful game. I've been playing it for years. But normally the panda figure is like yay big. In that game, it was this big, and it was wonderful playing it with a giant size set of it. So I had a great deal of fun playing that. On the note of giant sized, I also played Stomp the Plank, which was a game I was aware of. I'd seen it advertised in some places, but it's a kids game. And actually, I did end up buying this one. I didn't buy the giant version of it because one, they didn't have it, and secondly, if they had it, it would cost a lot of money. But Stomp the Plank is this one. So Stomp the Plank is it's based around you are pirate elephants, which honestly is probably all I need to say. I could probably just stop the pitch there and go, you're playing pirate elephants, go and buy it. But it's lovely. Essentially, you've got, I mean, let's pick it up again for a second. So the box turns into a pirate ship with magnetic planks that you put across the edge of it. Everyone's pirates start at the front, and you also have a bag full of like coins. And it's really simple. Essentially, it's a press your luck card game. There is a treasure deck. There's 7 different types of treasure. You take a card. If you want to, you take another card. If you want to, you take another card, and so on and so forth. If you can get 6 in a row without a duplicate, then you actually just win straight away. If you do get 2 duplicates, you have to move your elephant one further forward, further forward on your plank. If you stop midway, you get a number of coins which your opponents have to put on the end of their plank, so on the far end, over the water essentially, to start tipping the magnet, and then they start to fall in. It's lovely. It's incredibly quick. It's like a 5-10 minute game. Brilliant for kids. I think it's recommended for 5+. So I bought a copy for my little one, and we've played it a couple of times already and had a great deal of fun. The problem is my daughter has my wife's impulsiveness, so she wants to just try and complete the full set every time rather than tactically stopping, but it's a lot of fun. So I very much enjoyed Giant Stomp the Plank, hence the fact I bought regular size Stomp the Plank. Katarina, this one will definitely appeal to you as well. I played a game called Nekojima, and I probably mispronounced that. I don't have it because I didn't buy it, but I would like to. So it's based on the actual kind of island of cats in Japan, and essentially it's a dexterity game where you have to put up electricity pylons. So essentially it's 2 bits of wood with a string attached to them, and based on dice rolling and chicanery from your opponent, you've got to put it down on the table without the power lines touching any other power lines and without it falling over. And if you do badly, if you do well, you get little black cubes which you pass to your opponent, and then they've got to balance cats on the power lines. And it's good fun. I really enjoyed it. Had I more money, I would have bought myself a copy, but I had to make some tactical decisions on that one because I think it was about 40 quid or something like that, which sadly is kind of average for board games now, but it means I had to make some tactical choices on which ones I was buying. But I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. One I wasn't expecting to play, but I had a little bit of time, and I thought, what the heck, let's go with it. I played a game called Pickleball, which is coming out to Kickstarter, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So it's based on an actual game that exists across the pond called Pickleball, and then they've taken it and themed it with pickles and pickle-based puns. But essentially, it's a kind of tennis. It's a sort of a table tennis meets badminton sort of game. And I'm I'm not really a sports guy, so a sports board game is not that appealing to me. But I was amazed at how well they've got a rally mechanic in it. You've got a hand of cards that you use to either move or hit the ball over to the other side, and it was really nice. I'm watching the Kickstarter, and if it's not crazy expensive, I think I'll buy it because I said it's very, very simple, very easy, and I think it would be easy to teach. So I really enjoyed Pickleball. Next one was one that was I couldn't believe when I saw this one. Again, I didn't buy it because of cost, but I'm going to have to get it at some point. Maybe I'll ask for it for Christmas from someone. They have made a board game version of Worms. So the classic Team 17, game of elimination game of you play a team of worms and you try and blow each other up and inevitably everything goes horribly wrong. They've turned that into a board game. And it has exactly the same sort of wackiness and risk of you blowing yourself up as you would expect from the video game. It is a heck of a lot of fun. And like I said, had I more money, I would have bought it straight off the bat. I mean, the only one downside is I think that's a game where I think it's fun 2-player. I think it'd be even better 3 or 4-player. And alas, my opportunities to play 3 and 4-player games that aren't as... I mean, this one's just a little bit too tricky for my 4, nearly 5-year-old. I don't think I'd have enough opportunity to play it as much as I would like, but I very much enjoyed it. And especially if you have a regular gaming group, check out the Worms board game. So much fun. And the last one I played, and in fact I played it 3 times, which sounds ridiculous, but it's true. I played 3 games of Blood on the Clock Tower. So Blood on the Clock Tower is a social deduction game, kind of like Mafia or Werewolf or The Resistance or something like that. So essentially, you are playing with a large group of people. In this case, it was 9 people sat around. Everything's kind of gothic-y themed. There are most of the people are good guys. There are some villains. There is one demon there who is killing people each night. There are day and night phases. During the day, you talk about what you want to do, and you maybe accuse someone of being the demon and have them executed in the game, not for real. And then at night time, the demon kills people, and there's lots of other powers that happen. Like there's fortune tellers who find out information, and empaths who find out other things, and an undertaker who can actually find out the true identity of the person who was just killed. The roles are really interesting. There's no generic roles. Some are wackier than others. But I really enjoyed it. Every single one of the games was different. The first one we won because we successfully defeated the demon. The second one we lost. The demon and his minions managed to just play us for fools. And that was fun as well. The third one we got a rare win because there was a character called the Mayor in it, where if there are 3 people left at the end and no one votes to execute, you just win. It was so much fun, and I've played a fair few social deduction games, and I've always enjoyed them. I think the one problem with social deduction games, though, that I've seen, well, actually two problems I've seen. This is becoming a Monty Python's game. So let's stick with two issues that I've generally seen. One time I played the Battlestar Galactica game, and my god, do I wish I had a copy of it, but it's so out of print that it costs a fortune to try and get a copy. One problem with the Battlestar Galactica game, which is not in theory a social deduction game, but it's got an element to it. It's got betrayers in it. Is that if you're a good guy, if you're a human, when you pass cards around, you get a card that says you are human. And if you're a Cylon, i.e. a traitor, you get a card with a heck of a lot of information on it. And you've then got to try and read it very quickly, absorb that information, and pretend like you're just reading the words "you are human," which is not great. But the nice thing is everyone's got a role, and you've got crib sheets, so everyone is reading something when they find out who they are, which is brilliant. So it doesn't give anything away, and there's enough twists and turns in it, and enough doubt, and that's one of the great things about it. Even if you think you've got some definite information, there's always doubt in there. Like there are characters who are evil but appear to be good, or are good and pretend to be evil. There is a role called the Drunk, which the person masterminding this and running it can allocate someone as being a drunk, which means they got a card that said, and this is what happened to me in the first game, that you're an empath. You get to find out about the 2 people next to you each turn. It's brilliant. But the person running it goes, no, actually they're the drunk. They just think they're an empath. So every time we get to a night phase. I get tapped on my shoulder and he goes, "Open your eyes." And he points at me and tells me how many bad people are next to me. He was making this up because my character was drunk. He didn't have any powers at all. It was brilliant. And there's so much doubt in there, even if you're like 95% sure of something because of your abilities. There's enough doubt in there from roles like the drunk and being poisoned and stuff like that, that actually it covers up mistakes, which is brilliant. Because if you're a new player, there's this risk that you say something, especially if you're in like a traitorous role, that you say something that gives yourself away. And actually, there's enough doubt out there that it covers any mistakes like that. And things like, if you're the demon, the storyteller tells you 3 roles that are not in play. So you can choose one of them and use that as your bluff, which is really nice. So I was so impressed. It was so much fun. And I loved the different variation of each game. I love how supportive it was for everyone. Every game had people who had come back before and people who were new to it. And everyone had a cracking time. The one problem with it, it's so expensive. They did a Kickstarter a while back for it, and it wasn't that expensive then. It was still like 65 quid or something. But to buy it now, it's like $150. Now, I mean, I guess the one thing I would say about that is how often do I go to an event that has 9 people there for playing a game like this? So honestly, I think I'm content to just go to conventions and play it every time I'm at a convention. But it's so good. So if you get ever a chance to play Blood on the Clock Tower, it's so good. Do play it. So let's talk about swag. What did I get? Well, I've already shown you that I got Stomp the Plank for my little one. Really good game. Very much enjoyed that. Not on a gaming note, I went to Witch Hunt, and I hope I got the name right for them. I will double check this. If I get this wrong, I will apologise and sort this out. But Witch Hunt had a stand there, and they make embroidered stuff. So I got myself like a lovely polyhedral dice tie, kind of black silk with green dice on it. It's subtle. You have to get it close to realise they're dice, which is great because it means it's good for stealth geekery in the office. Like literally, I had a meeting yesterday with clients in London. I was wearing this tie because it's like, it looks like a very smart professional tie, and only when you get closer do you realise, hang on, those are dice. So I really like that. What else did I get from a gaming perspective? And I will show you some stuff. So I picked up, let me see what's next on my list. So on notes of stuff to get for my little one, I bought this. This is The Adventurer's Apprentice, The Mysterious Egg. Sorry, I'll tip it so the ring light doesn't reflect into it. So this is written and illustrated by Jennifer Masters. And she's got another game coming out, kind of a sequel to this in a couple of weeks, I think. I think it's at the printers right now. And what this is it is a storybook with lovely artwork, but it's also a choose-your-own adventure game. So it's not a huge amount of choose-your-own adventures, but it's enough that, you know, a 5-year-old can play this with a single die, rather. And it just adds a bit of variation to story time, that actually the story won't go quite the same each time. And I thought, yeah, this looks fun. I've not played it yet. Looking forward to playing it one evening, I think. I'm slightly worried about hyping up my little one before bedtime, so maybe this will be an afternoon thing. Maybe we'll save this for the weekend rather than when we would normally do story time at bedtime. But this is very cute, and I just had to pick that up because it looks great. The next one on there, I can't show you, alas, because I've actually already given it away as a birthday present, which was Strong Point, which is a trivia game. I didn't catch the name of the company that made it, and I even took photos of the box before I gave it to the person for their birthday. And I couldn't see a brand name on it. It just seems to be like strongpointgame.com. So maybe it's their only thing so far. But it's a trivia game that I picked it up because it was a very simple concept in terms of a trivia game. It is very inclusive, I think. It can go down to the levels of geekery of a game like Geek Out without feeling like, oh, I can't play this round because I don't know about that particular type of geekery. You know, which is always the problem with geeky trivia games. You know, like you say, oh, it's the anime round. Well, I don't know anything about anime, so I'm going to lose this one. But actually, there's a mechanic in there where not only is the person whose turn it is trying to answer as many of 5 questions as they can, but everyone else gets to bet on how many they think they'll get right. So actually, them being bad in a round actually can work out fine because, you know, points are still being gained for actually being bad at it. So I quite like that. I saw it and immediately thought, that's a great birthday or Christmas present, and it turns out it was. So I enjoyed that. Next one on there. I've been looking to get this one for a little while now. Now, if you follow me a lot and you've seen some of my streams, you'll know that I played Calico, or Quilts and Cats of Calico, to use its app name, recently, and it was a huge amount of fun. And then I played the app version, and then realised I wanted the board game version. Ordered it, and you can order it directly from them, and even get the Kickstarter edition, and you could do add-on other games as well. And I said, no, I'm just going to get that one for now. Ordered it, and then realised they had another adorable animal-related game. I thought, damn it, I should have ordered it at that time. And then, hello, Photostyle. Waves and runs off to work. I appreciate it. Thank you for popping in, even if it's just briefly. It is always appreciated and very nice to see you. So there's this other game that they had. And I thought, well, let's get it at some point. And then I was in a conversation with the ladies of Fistful of Crits, and we talked about it. And I was like, I wonder if they've got it. And I ran across to a stall, and sure enough, they did have it. And I bought myself it. It was a little bit more expensive than I kind of hoped for, but to be honest, it was essentially it's the same price that it is on Amazon, which to be honest is fine. But I get to buy it. I got to buy it from a friendly local game store instead, which I consider a win. And it was the Kickstarter edition. So this, and oh my god, am I looking forward to playing this. This is called Fit to Print. Now, let's take a moment to look at the cute journalist animals. Those are adorable. So what this game is you are animals, and let me try and move it without the reflection. You are animals running a newspaper. So the whole concept of the game, I'll admit, it's still shrink wrapped. I've not opened it yet. The whole concept of the game is you've got to complete your front page. So you've got a grid that you can put articles on, and there's a bank of articles in the middle, and it's like a tile placing game where it's like, oh, I need a headline that takes up this much space. Oh, I've got some space at the sides, and I need to get some ads and chuck those in there. I just love the idea of it. It's such a nice concept of completing like the front page of a newspaper, but then you add in the cute kind of animals of farthing wood-y art. I just had to have it. So I'm very much looking forward to playing it. But I think that would be a heck of a lot of fun. 2 things left to go. 2 things. Next one. You'll notice I've not talked a lot about tabletop RPGs. Because I was kind of hesitant to buy more tabletop RPGs, I already have a great deal behind me. You can see some of them, not a lot. I have a big backlog of tabletop RPGs because the fact is I don't have enough time to play many games. So I have a lot of ones that I have read or are in a pile to read, which is fine. And I've had this conversation with a couple of people. It's arisen a variety of times over the weekend that actually it is perfectly legitimate to buy tabletop RPGs and just read them and never get to play them, because actually you get to support someone, especially if it's an indie creator. You get to have a good experience reading it, and it probably sparks ideas about creating your own stuff. Ways they've solved problems in different ways, I think is very important. So I was hesitant to buy many tabletop RPGs due to lack of time, but also they tend to be expensive. Stu Goff's got a new game out, which is a Greek mythology one, which I was so tempted to buy, but I just couldn't stretch the money of it. And that is nothing against him; he's priced it well, but money is finite. But I was very, very tempted to buy it. But what this one is, I saw it literally the end of the day on Saturday. I was doing like a last pass of the room before I was leaving to go and meet some people for dinner, and I saw it and I thought, like this. So this is Wise Women by Alexandra Brockman. And this has been out for a couple of years, but I've somehow missed it entirely. And the concept of this is lovely. So you are playing a coven of witches you've got to assume kind of like a Dark Ages-y sort of time. But you're in a sort of rural area where you being witches would certainly, there would be a risk to your lives of you announcing you're witches. And the thing that made it really appealing to me, one, is I don't know the nationality of Alexandra Brockman, but certainly I think Eastern European. From my brief conversation with her, and the fact this is based on actual kind of Slavic folklore. So I like the fact when you have someone of that heritage injecting their own heritage and deeper research into it, into a game, rather than the kind of cultural appropriation thing, which is great. But one of the things the thing that sold this to me was the plants. So there's a lot of casting spells in this, good spells, bad spells, and the like, but you've got to collect plants in order to cast these spells, and it gives you information about the plants themselves. So, for example, I'm looking on this page I've turned to about the plant white bryony, and it's got a 4-paragraph description of historically what white bryony was used for, and then it tells me about the 3 spells and links to it that actually it's an ingredient in the Cause Disease spell, the Hexaperson spell, and the Ward Against Evil spells. So you've got this kind of herbology, horticultural thing in there as well. Learning about the plants and learning historically what they were used for, what sort of spells were they used for in kind of Slavic kind of Wiccan practice. And that was it. That sold it to me. It's like, even if I never play this, I'm going to enjoy reading this, but I would love to play it. I think it could be a huge amount of fun, and I imagine there are a lot of people who know me and who follow me on here who would have interest in playing a one-shot, playing a Coven of Witches. I think that could be an awful lot of fun. So that was the one tabletop RPG I got. Last thing I'm going to talk about here, and this is slightly bananas, because there's some cool stuff there. There's some really cool stuff, and I'm very excited to play it. But I think the best find of something I got, and this is the thing I broke my rule for. It turns out I have the PDF on itch.io from a bundle. There we go. I probably do as well. I do support so many big old bundles, especially like the ones to raise money for Ukraine and stuff like that. I probably have the PDF already, and it's just deep in my archive of stuff I've never read, which is cool. But yeah, this is the best thing I got. And I said I broke my rule and bought it on Friday because I thought it might sell out. So this is Bloxo. Now, this is a very, very simple game. This is, and it's tiny. It's tiny. It was being sold, I think the retail price was like £15. It was being sold at Tabletop Scotland for a tenner, so it was an absolute freaking steal. And it has a feel of, it's a little bit like Quirkle. So you've got a handful of cards with symbols, coloured symbols. Now, a symbol is always the same colour, so it's not like Quirkle where you've got a combination of colours and symbols. And it's literally just a putting down tiles game. So if that's in the middle, and I've got this, I can pop it here, and I get 6 points for that, because my yellow forms a group of 3 yellows, and the cross on the card I've just played forms a group of 3 crosses. And it's not to do with rows and columns, it's literally just how wide, how big of a connected shape do you get to get the points for it. And it's so bloody simple. I played it with the guy who was clearly trying to sell me it, and I very much enjoyed it. I ended up playing 2 games of it over coffee with George from Till Dice to Us Part podcast. And it's such a nice, quick game. It is incredibly easy. The rules are very straightforward, accessible for kids, accessible for colourblind people because you don't need to be able to tell the difference between the colours, which makes life really, really easy in that regard. It's just a really nice self-contained game, and I said I got it for a tenner, which is brilliant. So I think that's my best find over Tabletop Scotland, and if you can get it, I hope he's selling it online. It's just a really nice, quick, casual game for 2 to 4 players. Oh, and there's an added bonus for it, and this is, this is a really minor thing, but it comes with, I say comes with, you can download it for free. You don't, in theory, even need to have bought the game. There's a scoring app for it, for free. Nice and straightforward. You add players to it. It's got some buttons for incrementing your point count by 1, -1, +5, -5. In theory, you could use it for any game. But the fact he's created a scoring app, so again, it kind of facilitates the notion of you keep this in your bag. I mean, I will keep this in my bag. I'll even keep it in my laptop case for if I'm away, because this is a really simple, compact game, and I've got my phone for scoring. So I can just, if someone decides they want to play a game, we can just play a game. You know, we don't need paper or pencils or stuff like that. You know, I really, really like that. I'm stunned that is my. I mean, there's so many good stuff here, but I'm stunned that is the thing where I've gone. That is the best thing I got over the weekend, and I'm really, really pleased with it. And I'm looking forward to playing it with members of my family and other people. So Bloxo, do check that out. Like I said, I will once the VOD for this episode. Is it an episode? This stream. Once the VOD for it is processing, I will do some research and I'll find all the links that I can. Ideally to the creators themselves, not just storefronts where you can buy it. And I'll try and put everything I've mentioned on here in the description for this VOD, because there's so much cool stuff. So much cool stuff. And I had a really good time. Like I said, it's the first time I've done a convention for 3 days, and I was slightly worried. I got to essentially the end of the Friday, I was thinking, is there going to be enough here for me to do for 3 days? And of course there was, you know, because at that time I hadn't played many games yet. Whereas on the Saturday where I went, right, I'm going to buy some stuff, I'm going to talk to some people, I'm going to do some panels, and I'm just going to go and play some games. I had a really good time. Hell, I could have stayed there for another day. My bank account wouldn't have liked me staying there for another day if there had been a 4th day. But I would have happily played more games and got more information from people about games they've got coming up. And there was such a great vibe. It had a similar vibe to Dragon Meet, if you've ever been to Dragon Meet, in that it was all indie creators. There was not a Funko Pop to be seen. You know, friendly local game stores. Just a really nice energy there and inspiring. You talk to people. Everyone's willing to share. Everyone's willing to give advice. I did some writing while I was there in the evenings, and I came back with this drive and the decision to be right. Little but fierce. We're doing this. We're making this happen next year, and I'm already doing the writing for it. So I had an absolutely cracking time. And again, the hope is that next year, when I go back, whether I'm there for the whole weekend or not, I'm doing the pre-launch for Little But Fierce. So there'll be flyers, QR codes to get people to register as followers for probably be on Backer Kit to follow the pre-launch page for that. Maybe even some quick start editions. It's one of the questions I'm going to have to answer is, can I put together a relatively short, you know, talking near 12 pages-ish, quick start of some sort that people could play to take it away and go, yeah, I really like this. Failing that, I will give them character sheets. I think character sheets might be a way to go. So they've got a physical thing that they can take with them that gives them a flavour of what the game of Little But Fierce is. But I had an absolutely cracking time. I really enjoyed it. So let's wrap this up then. What's coming up? Well, let me do the standard blurb first. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You are wonderful people for choosing to join in. I am still trying to push and expand my audience, you know, especially with a crowdfunding campaign on the horizon in next year. I need to push and to widen my audience on everything. So more followers here, more followers on YouTube, more followers on social media. On social media, I am at DC Bradshaw RPG on Twitter. I am at dcbradshaw.com on Blue Sky, and I'm at DC Bradshaw on Threads. I also have a Facebook page and other bits and pieces as well. But please follow me. If you like what I do, could I ask perhaps that you just recommend me to one person in a tweet? Choose something that I've made that you like, whether it's a tabletop RPG thing, whether it's a stupid tweet I've made, whether it's an episode of Shought Thorts that particularly tickled your fancy. That would be my ask to you. Please choose something that I've made share it on a social media platform of your choice, and maybe tag a couple of people in it, people who don't already follow me, and recommend that, because I just want to try and widen my circle so that when I go, great, here is my magnum opus, here is Little But Fierce in hardback form, and we're launching it, that I'm not just talking to just my friends. But your support does mean the world to me. It really does. But I need more people to see my stuff. Otherwise, stuff does not sell. So thank you. Please do that. If you'd like ongoing ways to support me, I have a Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/dcbretchrpg. It's £3 a month, and you get access to some exclusive stuff, some early access, etc., etc. Also, it is September. So if you would like to support me here via Twitch, people watching me live in Twitch land, you can do so. You could throw me your Prime subscription if you have one, or it's cheaper. It's about a third cheaper to subscribe, and you get the cool little emoji. You get the cool little pirate penguin emoji, and my eternal thanks if you choose to do that. Shought Thorts. There is a playlist for all of Shought Thorts, my bite-sized interview show. We are on hiatus right now. There are 9 episodes out there, each about 15 minutes each. So let's do a little bit of maths on that one. That is just over 2 hours of good content that you can either watch on YouTube, or it's available through the podcasting app of your choice. Please, 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 if you've not already subscribed, please do that. Please share it with people you think would like it. Because what I want to do as I'm recording and editing up what is effectively season 2 of Shought Thorts, I want to be able to come back with a bang, and even more people, people who have watched all the season 1 episodes while I was away, and they're ready for season 2. So that would be amazing. Right, let us. I think we will raid out K of Double K. Is still going, so I think we are going to do that. So let me just do the shenanigans to set that in motion. Yes, he is still playing Red Dead Redemption 2, so we're going to start a raid there. And I hope you have an awesome day. We're going to hop over in just a second. There may well be another stream this week. I want to carry on playing The Last of Us, so keep an eye out for that, because I'm really enjoying streaming The Last of Us. I'm going to continue doing it. All right, I'll see you all soon. Take care.